Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Donovan. This is the Moto G6 Play, and tonight I want to share with you my first impressions of this super budget-friendly device available from Motorola. So let me go ahead and first start out with some of the details about this device, specifically its availability. So right now it is not available as an unlocked device, at least in the US. It is available in other countries unlocked, but right now in the US it is not, because you can see right here it says coming soon. However, it is available from a couple of prepaid carriers. So number one would be Verizon, so it's only available for Verizon prepaid. And then the second place you can get it is with Boost Mobile. Now, in both cases, you're going to be paying $129. It's available at places like Walmart and Target and Best Buy. And I gotta be honest with you, this thing is definitely a solid device for that $130 price tag. And I can tell you that without a whole lot of usage so far. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about what you get for that $129 price tag. So first thing you'll notice, of course, is the phone. We're going to set that off to the side. Then you also get a nice silicone case, so TPU silicone case. It's clear, it's cool. Nice that they include that. You also get a micro USB cable, so thumbs down for that. Kind of wish it had Type-C, but this is a budget-friendly device. And then you also get a 2 amp wall adapter. Now, one thing I will mention is that if you get the unlocked version directly from Motorola, it does come with a turbocharger, but the Verizon version does not come with a turbocharger, despite the fact that this phone is turbocharging capable. All right, and then you also, of course, get your booklets that you'll probably never look at. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the build quality of the G6 Play. That's this phone here. This is the regular G6, and one thing you'll notice right off the bat is that they have very similar designs, but there are quite a few differences. One being that this one has a plastic back versus the glass back you get on the regular G6. Now, this one has a single camera on the back, and you can see there is just a slight camera bump there, not too bad. And then we also have a flash on the back as well as our fingerprint sensor, so I'm going to go ahead and test that out real quick. It has been very reliable, absolutely no issues with that whatsoever. It's not the fastest fingerprint sensor, but it does work very well and very accurate. So we down here on the bottom, we have a micro USB for charging it, so thumbs down for that. We have a microphone on the bottom as well. On the top, we just have our headphone jack, and on the left, we have our power button and volume rocker. Actually, that's on the right-hand side. And then over here on the left, we have our SIM tray that also doubles as a micro SD card slot as well, and you can expand it up to 128 gigs here with that SD card slot. And yes, you can use it as onboard storage for the device. It comes with 16 gigs of onboard storage, at least the version I have comes with that. It is going to be available also in 32 gigs of storage as well. Now up here on the front, we have our 5 megapixel selfie camera. We have our earpiece that also doubles as our speaker, and then a front-facing flash. And then in terms of the display, we have a 5.7-inch 720p display, so not full HD unfortunately, but it is a 18:9 aspect ratio for those of you that care. Now notice down here that we do have our software keys. On the regular G6, you can actually get rid of those software keys because you can use the fingerprint sensor for those things, but on the G6 Play, you cannot do that. So that's maybe just an unfortunate thing about the G6 Play. So you won't be able to utilize that bottom piece because it's going to be utilized for those software keys. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the performance of the G6 Play. So you can see here I have the Geekbench 4 scores up. The single core score is 658, multi-core score of 1800. This comes with 2 gigs of RAM. It is also available with 3 gigs of RAM, and it is running the Snapdragon 427 processor clocked at 1.4 gigahertz. Now, that is an octa-core processor, and over the past phones that I've been using with that processor, they do perform quite well. I let my son play some games earlier on it. They ran no problem. He was playing a Star Wars game on Disney Now. Absolutely no issues there. Where you will see issues is with heavy duty social media. So if you use a lot of Facebook Messenger and things like that that kind of bog down a phone, you will notice a few hiccups from time to time with this in terms of processing. But overall, the 427 processor for me has been a very reliable processor until it comes to real heavy duty gaming. You probably don't want to do any kind of PUBG on this phone because it just won't be able to handle those kind of games. But average day to day-to-day games that most people play, it will handle quite well. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the performance of the G6 Play. So I have up here the Geekbench 4 scores. So you can see here we have a single core score of 658, a multi-core score of 1800. Now the version I have comes with 2 gigs of RAM, technically 1.8, but it's considered 2 gigs of RAM. It is also available with 3 gigs of RAM as well. Now all versions come with the Snapdragon 427 processor. That is a octa-core processor, and it's clocked at 1.4 gigahertz. In the past, this processor has done very well for me, and I assume that's probably going to be the same here with the Moto G6 Play. One thing I will mention is that if you're trying to do some heavy-duty gaming, you will definitely get some frame rate drops, no question there. So PUBG probably not going to be super playable on this phone, but average games that you play just for fun will run no problem on here. Social media will have hiccups from time to time. It's not going to be the fastest processor, but it does do a good job in general day-to-day usage. Alright, so as far as the software is concerned on the G6 Play, you can see here basically 100% stock Android with this device. You can see it's running Android 8.0.0, and what I'll mention here is that with Motorola's track record lately, pretty much just plan on staying on Motorola 8.0.0 for quite a while. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of updates, especially with the version I have here that is the Verizon Wireless version. Now, in terms of some tweaks to the software on Android 8.0, we have, of course, our Moto Actions, and I kind of already jumped into them, but you can see here we have 3-finger screenshot. That works very well, so go ahead and just hold 3 fingers down. It'll take a screenshot, maybe. There we go. Alright, so it did it on the second try. We also have chop twice for flashlight. We'll go ahead and test that one out so you can see there. And turn it off, and then we also have our twist for quick capture, so you basically just twist your wrist twice and it's going to turn the camera on. We have swipe to shrink screen, so that's great for one-handed usability. We also have pick up to stop ringing and flip to do not disturb, and again we also have Moto Display, so that's basically just going to bring up your notifications, light up the screen with your notifications when you want those, if you want those available. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about one of the most important specs of this device, and that is the battery. So this comes with a whopping 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and I cannot tell you at this moment how long that battery is going to last, because this is literally, I've had it for 24 hours, but what I will say is that you can probably expect to be able to get through a day of usage with absolutely no problem. So when I got this out of the box, it actually had 50%. I've been using it pretty much all day today. My kids have been using it a little bit to play some games, and you can see at the moment it's still at 28%, so I've not even given it a full charge yet, and it's doing very well. So I will say that you can probably expect that with no problem you should be able to get easily through a full day, maybe 2 full days of battery life with this phone, but that's obviously with lighter usage. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the cameras on the G6 Play, and for that we have a 13 megapixel camera here on the rear with a rear facing flash. On the front we have a 5 megapixel camera with a front facing flash for your low light selfies as well. When it comes to the cameras, we can shoot in up to 1080p for video in both the front and the rear. One nice thing about the rear is that we do actually have image stabilization, as you can see right over here, so that is going to be electronic image stabilization, and I have yet to test that out, but hopefully it does work well. And then for the camera, we can again shoot up to 13 megapixels. We do have auto HDR, so that's nice, and then we can also shoot in panorama, and then with video we can shoot in slow motion. So it is somewhat limited in terms of the features you get on this camera, but again we're talking about a phone at the moment for Verizon Wireless that you can get for only $129. Alright, so before I share my initial conclusions on the G6 Play, I'm going to go ahead and play a song for you so you can hear that front firing speaker, and yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, so not only is it a front firing speaker, which is a good thing, but it's also quite loud. It's not the clearest of speakers, but I would say overall it definitely does the trick for a cell phone speaker. Now, Is this phone worth that $129 price point that you can get it right now at Boost Mobile and Verizon? I would say absolutely, and especially if the unlocked version comes out somewhere under $180, I definitely think it will be worth it. I think this is a really solid pickup for someone on a budget. There's really not a whole lot of huge negatives. I really like the battery life on it. Of course, this is not going to be a flagship device, but I think for the average consumer, this will be a very good device. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.